Solomon's secret wealth codes reveal powerful principles that can teach anyone how to achieve true prosperity. As it is written in Proverbs 16 verse 16, "It is far better to acquire wisdom than pure gold, and it is more profitable to obtain understanding than silver." King David's son Solomon is remembered not only as one of the richest men, but also as one of the wisest in history. But what is the secret behind such wealth? Yes, there is a set of universal codes of wealth that Solomon applied in his life, and that made him extraordinarily prosperous. 3 of these codes stand out as pillars for building fortune, one of which is hidden in biblical passages. In this video, you will have access to these codes to open paths towards wealth and prosperity, also enabling you to manifest other achievements in your life. Before we move on to these teachings, don't forget to leave a like. And now get ready to discover how to access these codes and open a universe of new opportunities. Wealth, money, and prosperity are concepts that go beyond what many imagine. The truth is that wealth is something deeply subjective, with each person interpreting it according to their level of consciousness. However, the principles Solomon accessed on his prosperity journey can connect anyone to a limitless source. These teachings encompass more than simply attracting wealth. They underlie 3 essential aspects of true prosperity: manifesting, maintaining, and expanding. I ask you to follow the channel. Our goal is to share learning in a clear and accessible way for everyone. Now that you're here, take the opportunity to enjoy the video and, if it's new, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any content. This is valuable knowledge, so stay tuned until the end. The first step to genuine wealth begins with your way of thinking and seeing the world. When we understand that the world responds to what we offer, and not to what we demand or desire, we reach a deep understanding that few have. If you understood this essence, write in the comments, "It is by offering that you receive," and I will leave a heart in your comment. We know that it is common for some people to question the figure of Solomon and his wealth, saying that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth or made mistakes. Others remember that Solomon's temple was destroyed, arguing that wealth leads to ruin. However, when we understand Solomon's principles, we realize that true wealth is not just in the accumulation of goods, but in the cultivation of a prosperous and balanced conscience. Let me share something important about wealth. Anyone who develops a prosperity consciousness understands that wealth offers possibilities of choice and expands our qualities, if we focus on them, but also enhances our flaws, if these are the center of our attention. Solomon, being the son of King David, was born into a privileged environment, but this alone would not guarantee his ability to maintain the wealth, power, and authority that his father achieved. Likewise, winning the lottery does not ensure lasting prosperity. Something more is needed, and we will explore that. Another crucial point is that many people judge Solomon for his mistakes, real or supposed. But who is perfect? Often, people idealize public figures, whether politicians, celebrities, artists, or religious leaders, and are disappointed to see that they also make mistakes, condemning them instead of recognizing their virtues. The truth is that getting rich does not guarantee lasting wealth. However, by adopting and living by eternal principles, you have the chance to manifest, sustain, and even multiply your prosperity. The purpose of this video is to share some of the principles that Solomon applied, without any intention of promoting a specific religious view. The idea is that you think for yourself and decide what makes sense for your life. Now, let's talk about these wealth codes, and if you can, stay until the end, as the most important will be revealed last. In a dream, God appeared to Solomon and said, "Ask me whatever you want, and I will give it to you." Solomon asked for wisdom and knowledge to lead the people, and God, in addition to granting what he asked for, also blessed him with riches, goods, and honor. Solomon is known as one of the wisest and richest leaders in history. He left a legacy that goes far beyond his prosperous reign in Israel. Solomon was not only notable for his ability to govern with intelligence and discernment, but also for the way in which his wisdom was recognized and admired by other peoples. His request to God for wisdom, rather than wealth or longevity, shows a deep desire to serve righteously and understand the complexity of decisions that would affect the well-being of his people. In response to this humility and altruism, God not only granted him unparalleled wisdom, but also blessed him with riches and fame that crossed the borders of his own kingdom, causing his name to echo in distant lands. Solomon thus became an emblematic figure of wealth and wisdom, remembered to this day for his impact on the ancient world and his dedication to seeking knowledge as a primary value. You may or may not already know, but Solomon was quite young when he assumed the throne. As recorded in the Bible, he felt inexperienced and unsure about how to govern. In his prayer to God, Solomon asked for wisdom and discernment to lead his people, even though he already possessed great riches and was the heir of David, who was deeply loved. Solomon understood that wealth alone would not guarantee the stability of the kingdom nor the authority he inherited from his father. Here we find the first code he accessed and practiced: wisdom to govern. Solomon's life teaches us that to maintain and expand prosperity, material wealth is not enough. You need to have discernment. As he wrote in Proverbs 16 verse 16, "It is better to obtain wisdom than gold, and it is better to acquire understanding than silver." In chapter 17, verse 16, he further adds, "What good is money in the hand of a fool if he does not seek wisdom?" The true desire should not just be to accumulate wealth, but to continually seek and cultivate wisdom, as it is the basis for manifesting, sustaining, and multiplying prosperity, in addition to bringing respect and recognition. Wealth is available, but you need to be mentally prepared to perceive it and manifest it in your life. Working on your mindset is the first step. Solomon's second code for achieving prosperity is to take ownership, that is, act. As he also wrote, "Lazy hands make poor, but diligent hands bring wealth." There is no point in gaining wisdom without putting it into practice. Now, allow me to share something important. I believe that we can indeed have a connection with an infinite source of wisdom. We'll talk more about this later in this video, but it's worth remembering that wisdom only comes true when it is put into practice. Without action, it is just accumulated knowledge. Today, we live in the age of knowledge, with everything at our fingertips. This excess can even become an overload if we do not transform it into practice. Reading books or taking courses on investments, for example, will be worthless if you don't apply what you learn. As the saying goes, all work is profitable, but only words lead to poverty. True wisdom only reveals itself with action. I hope this is clear. Now, shifting perspective to something Jesus taught about ask, believe, and receive, I need to warn you. Many who study topics such as the law of attraction, metaphysics, and positive thinking believe that receiving just means meditating and waiting passively. In the past, I thought so too. Of course, I'm not saying to think negatively, but Jesus' teaching about receiving goes beyond that. The word receive comes from the Latin recipere, which means to take back or to take possession of something. This involves bringing to the physical plane what has already been clearly manifested in your mind. Today, although I would like to delve deeper into this topic, the video may end up being too long. For our conversation to be truly useful, absorb everything that has been said carefully. Receiving and taking ownership means acting and putting into practice the knowledge you have acquired, as well as the ideas that arise from your clear intention. Believe me, when you have a defined intention and put it into practice, what you want begins to manifest. Returning to the example of Solomon, when he asked for wisdom, it is interesting to note that, after the conversation between him and God in a dream, where God promised not only wisdom, but also riches and fame, something important happened. In the first book of Kings, chapter 3, verse 16 and following, we see a practical example of how Solomon applied the wisdom he asked for. I don't believe it was just a download of knowledge. You may already be familiar with the story, but if not, it's fascinating. One day, two women presented themselves to the king. One of them said, "My lord, this woman lives with me. I gave birth to a son, and 3 days later she also gave birth. We were alone, and during the night, she lay on her son, and he died. She then exchanged my son for hers while I was sleeping. When I woke up to breastfeed, I realized that the baby was dead, but when I looked closer, I realized that it wasn't mine." The other woman protested, stating that the living baby was hers. Faced with a heated argument between them, Solomon asked for a sword and ordered the living child to be cut in half, dividing it between the two. The real mother, overcome with compassion, asked that the child be given to the other woman, while the other woman accepted the proposal to cut it. So, Solomon declared, "Do not kill the child, give him to the first woman, for she is the true mother." When all Israel heard this decision, they began to deeply respect Solomon, as they realized that the wisdom of God was in him, enabling him to do justice. This implies that, before this moment, people may not have believed that a young man could have the necessary wisdom to govern and manage wealth. Solomon had to prove his worth by exercising his role as king and, more importantly, putting wisdom into practice. To consolidate the knowledge about the wisdom you have acquired, write the following sentence in the comments. To manifest riches, I put the acquired wisdom into action. I will repeat, to manifest riches, I put acquired wisdom into action. If you prefer, pause the video to take notes. This phrase is fundamental, as it will help consolidate everything we have discussed so far. Now, let's talk about Solomon's third code, which is almost hidden in the Bible and relates to honor, gratitude, and sincerity. Pay attention, as this point is crucial. Solomon demonstrated his love for God by following the teachings of his father, David, and made offerings and burned incense in sacred places. He traveled to Gibeon, where the main place of worship was located, to offer sacrifices, and there he made 1,000 burnt offerings. I want to clarify that I am not saying that I agree with the practice of holocausts and animal sacrifices. This doesn't make sense to me. However, in Solomon's time, this was a common practice that reflected conscience. Solomon's fourth code for achieving prosperity is, obedience, be grateful and obedient. As he also wrote, take care of my instructions as the apple of your eye. There is no point in gaining wisdom if you don't keep it and put it into practice. If you don't use this wisdom to your advantage and don't act, tell me, do you really believe that Solomon simply received all the wisdom downloaded directly from above? Or did God give him opportunities so that he could exercise this wisdom, consolidating himself as the wisest king of his time? I would like to know your opinion. Leave it in the comments. King Solomon, in addition to being famous for his wisdom and leadership skills, also stood out as a visionary in business, especially in the trade of salt and other valuable products of the time. This involvement in trade boosted his kingdom's economy and brought significant benefits, establishing him as an immensely wealthy and influential figure. In a single year, Solomon was able to accumulate an impressive amount of wealth, receiving around 25 tons of gold. This extraordinary volume of gold helped assert his position as one of the richest and most powerful men of his time. Interestingly, the word salary that we use today to refer to payment for a job or service derives from the Latin salarium, which has roots in the word salt. This extremely valuable resource in antiquity. Solomon knew how to take advantage of the value of salt, considered essential and often used as a currency of exchange, which expanded his dominance over trade and further increased his fortune. Solomon's ability to understand the value of resources and expand his wealth exemplifies his intelligence not only in government but also in running prosperous businesses. He established a commercial alliance with the king of Tyre, a region that corresponds to modern-day Iran, and this resulted in significant exchanges, including 4 tons of gold for extensive lands. Furthermore, Solomon owned vast properties that covered large areas, thus strengthening their trade routes. This business wisdom was one of the keys to his enormous wealth. It is also worth mentioning that Hiram Abiff, the king of Tyre, introduced King Solomon to an important architect and Freemason who played a fundamental role in the construction of Solomon's temple, which is venerated in the Masonic tradition. However, at a certain point in his life, Solomon began to squander his wealth on women, accumulating a harem of 700 wives and 300 concubines, totaling about 1,000 women. This certainly raises questions about his personal life and the decisions he has made. What do you think of this? Share your opinion in the comments. Solomon had many wives, all adorned with luxurious clothes and precious jewelry. However, some of them began to take him away from God, as reported in the Bible. This distancing caused him to lose his wisdom, and Rehoboam his son, and Jeroboam also stopped being wise. Eventually, they divided the kingdom, which eventually fragmented and was destroyed. 50 years later, both the temple built by Solomon and others were razed, although they were later rebuilt. In the year 70 after Christ, they were destroyed again, leaving only what is known as the Western Wall. This is a fascinating story full of teachings. After this summary, which may not have been that brief, let's continue exploring the codes and secrets of Solomon, who is an example of someone who dealt with large fortunes, from millions to trillions of dollars. Before we dive into the teachings I selected, I would like to ask a favor. If you could leave a like, it helps us expand our channel and share valuable content. Don't forget to comment on your impressions of the video. Solomon is also known for writing the book of Proverbs, a work that is excellent for those seeking wisdom and wanting to increase their discernment in various areas of life. Without further delay, let's go to the fifth code. Wisdom reproves false merit. But what is the merit, exactly? Merit is related to recognizing something you achieved by adding value in some way. For example, if we make a video that reaches 1 million people, and this video is well edited and crafted, it adds value and brings results. On the other hand, false merit occurs when someone believes that they deserve something without having earned it. For example, if you work 9 hours a day and think you should earn more just for the sake of it, without considering whether your work is truly essential or difficult, this could be a sign of false merit. Winning the lottery can also be considered false merit, as you must participate to have a chance, but statistically, the probability of winning is so low that there is no true merit in it. Wisdom reproves false recognition because if you lack discernment, the rewards you obtain without having contributed significantly can quickly disappear. Just look at the number of people who play the lottery and never win. This teaches us that true merit comes from the value we can add. Code of Wisdom for Wealth. To maintain your wealth, it is essential that you seek wisdom. Without this, you may lose what you have effortlessly achieved. The secret of this code is that, without wisdom, you can get lost in the unknown. This means that by not seeking knowledge, you may find yourself on an uncertain path and end up stumbling. It is important to remember that we should never walk alone. Having someone by our side to help us can be crucial when we face difficulties. If you are not knowledgeable when investing, you may end up blaming external factors, such as changes in the dollar or political changes, for your mistakes without realizing that the real cause may be a lack of understanding of what you are doing. The sixth code talks about foolishness. Being unwise is knowing what you should do and choosing not to do it. While anyone who ignores what they should do is considered ignorant, foolishness refers to being aware of the necessary actions and still not acting. Many people may look back on their youth and regret not having made investments due to lack of knowledge, but those who are aware of what needs to be done and do not act fall into foolishness. The seventh code addresses laziness. Laziness leads to ruin, as those who procrastinate in their tasks, from investing to starting to exercise, fail to achieve success. The eighth code teaches us to diversify our investments. We cannot depend on a single source of income. Just as one seed may fail, others may prosper. Investing in multiple options protects you against significant losses by allowing a few picks to make up for any shortcomings. In the ninth code, it is highlighted that just working hard is not enough. Effort is part of the journey to prosperity, but if you don't add value or scale to your actions, your hard work may not result in success. You can try hard, but if you don't add value to what you do, you won't see results. Finally, these codes emphasize that wisdom and knowledge are not the same thing. Many people have vast theoretical knowledge, but this does not guarantee that they will be good investors in the long term. Wisdom goes beyond knowledge. It involves experience and practice. For knowledge to turn into wisdom, it is necessary to apply it and obtain good results. For example, someone may think they know how to drive because they have played video games, but true skill is only acquired by driving a real car. This simple analogy helps you understand that while knowledge is valuable, wisdom reveals itself through practice and experience. This is the code for wealth used by King Solomon. Now, without further ado, let's reveal the essential secrets inspired by Solomon for those who seek wealth and wisdom. Write down each one of them, for the words wisdom and wealth will always be linked to Solomon. He is undoubtedly one of the great pioneers in personal development lessons. Therefore, it is important to know these concepts and apply them. Solomon, the richest and wisest man in history, taught that true wisdom goes hand in hand with true wealth. Fortunately, he recorded his teachings in a manual for those who want a life of prosperity. Absorb these truths and apply them to your life. This way, you will be on the right path to success. Since the time of Solomon, people have sought his teachings to achieve prosperity. Do the same, learn from these secrets and watch your life flourish. Many of us, since we were little, have dreamed of finding something that gives meaning to life, true wealth. Wisdom is that treasure that Solomon mentions. If you follow these teachings, you will achieve prosperity, happiness, and fulfillment. Now, let's look at the 7 secrets of Solomon's wealth and wisdom. Firstly, I want to know, do you want to be rich and wise like him? Comment, I will be rich and wise like Solomon, to express your desire. Solomon's secret 1, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere. Stay your plans with good advice, make war with a defined strategy. Proverbs 20 verse 18. Do you know where you want to go in life? Are you moving towards that goal, or just wandering? The first secret to success is knowing where you want to go and having a plan to get there. Ask yourself where you want to be in 10 years. What will be your financial condition, your profession, your family, and your spiritual life? All successful people dream, but they know that a dream without a plan is just a wish. You need a clear plan to achieve financial freedom, fulfillment, and connection with God. King Solomon's secret 2. Take care of your mind more than anything else, for it is the source of life. Proverbs 4 verse 20. Your mindset defines your reality. If you want a different future, change your way of thinking. Prosperity belongs to the righteous, and justice is the basis of all wealth. To improve the fruits, we need to take care of the roots. Here are some of Solomon's most powerful teachings for those seeking wisdom and prosperity. Put them into practice, because as he said, "He who walks with the wise becomes wise, but the friend of fools will find trouble." Proverbs 13 verse 20. Wisdom has always been the central point in the journey of Solomon, one of the greatest masters of personal development. Therefore, understanding its principles is essential for anyone who wants to achieve a full and prosperous life. Secret 3. Live with integrity, even when no one is watching. This is one of the most important of Solomon's secrets. He taught that true wealth does not come from the unbridled effort to accumulate, but rather from integrity and inner peace. Don't exhaust your strength trying to get rich. Stop thinking only about that. For riches disappear as soon as you contemplate them. Like birds that fly through the sky, Proverbs 23 verse 4. The relentless pursuit of wealth can make it illusory. Instead, make wealth a natural consequence, not an obsession. Often, what we desire most seems far away, while what we don't pursue comes easily. Seek first to develop inner riches, and outer riches will follow. Secret 4. The master key is wisdom. Solomon always praised wisdom, treating it as something great and essential. It is much more than knowledge. It is a deep understanding of life and a source of true success. Do you want to be loved by wisdom? So, love wisdom first and foremost. She possesses all the riches. She is the friend who strengthens and guides us. Wisdom gives us the ability to achieve what we want. Instead of just asking for wealth, ask for wisdom, as it opens doors and reveals paths that are not always obvious. Secret 5. Control your words and thoughts. He who guards his mouth preserves life. He who talks too much finds ruin. Proverbs 13 verse 3. Just as a garden needs care, our mind and actions also need attention. Thoughts and words are seeds, and what we cultivate inside is reflected in our lives. Cultivate positive thoughts and words to build a solid life protected against ruin. Secret 6. Diligence is the path to abundance. The negligent hand makes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Proverbs 10 verse 4. Abundance demands action. Solomon believed that diligence, that is, constant and disciplined effort, is what leads us to success. Just as a bridge connects one point to another, discipline connects our goals to our results. To achieve your dreams, you need to act constantly, even in the face of challenges. Perseverance is the key, and passion is the fuel for this journey. Nothing can resist a motivated and persevering spirit. King Solomon's Secret 7. Failure is a valuable lesson. The fear of failure is one of the biggest obstacles to growth. He who avoids mistakes loses the opportunity to learn. Great achievements, both in the scientific and technological fields, came after many failures. Thomas Edison, for example, faced more than 1,000 attempts before he managed to invent the light bulb. He proved that failure is just a step towards success. Remember that God is the source of everything, and do not be discouraged in the face of challenges. Do what you've never done to achieve what you never had. If you want different results, you need to change course and adopt a new approach. True success comes from the ability to take risks, try new things, and act with determination. Start transforming your reality now, and you will be building the future you want. If you've followed this far, congratulations! Your dedication is admirable. Comment below, "I made it to the end," to let me know that you are a persistent person, destined for great achievements.